Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Strange Eons Radio is on the air, and sitting directly across from me in person is Eric Morgret.
Hey!
And then sitting right to my right is Vanessa Williams.
I'm also here.
Yay, that makes me Kelly. And you guys, we're doing one of those rare evening recordings.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
And I kind of love these because it gives me a chance to make some dinner before you guys get here, pour myself some wine. You can probably smell my meat, Vanessa.
I can't, but
maybe take a big whiff.
I can smell your wine. It is right in front of me.
Is that bothering you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine. It's great.
Maybe the meat smell, but she's ignoring that.
My brain has filtered it out.
Vanessa.
I don't even know. Maybe I don't know what meat smells like anymore. Maybe I've forgotten after all these years of not consuming it.
Most importantly, we're recording in person.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We're here. I can see your faces. I can tell you're alive human beings. You're not just recordings on a screen.
Yes.
Yes.
And I've got stuff to talk about.
Uh-oh.
Whew. You both know how I feel about Facebook, and social media in general, I think, is going to be the fall of Western civilization.
Yes.
I think that it has instilled this sense of narcissism in all of us. And it's made people think that even the stupidest thought must be shared. So, Vanessa?
Oh my God. I knew it. Okay.
You posted a couple days ago, I had a dream I was eating clam chowder. Now, if you wouldn't mind telling me, and make this in percentage if you can, how narcissistic a human being has to be to post that and think that is something that their friends... I unfriended you after this, like I do anyone who makes a post like this, but I'm just curious what was going through your head.
You did not. You did not.
Check and see.
I'm going to. I'm really sad about that. No, I think you have it wrong. I have run out of things to say.
Clearly not.
No. I mean, it's been like weeks. I barely say anything for weeks at a time. And then I had a really vivid dream, and like the chowder was in my mouth, and I could feel the potato and the clams with my tongue. And I was like, wow, this is like...
You know what you didn't say in your post?
Sure.
You didn't say, I had the most amazing dream that I could feel the chowder. You said, I had a dream about clam chowder.
Did it ever dawn on you I might be a little bit trolling the whole situation of Facebook?
No, actually, it did not.
Okay, it should
I
have.
thought that you were 100%.
No,
sincere.
0%. I was like, I don't fucking even know what to say anymore. I'm going to say the stupidest, most mundane shit. And by golly,
accomplished.
people actually responded. I was really surprised. There was nothing to respond to with that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, you notice I didn't respond.
You did respond.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I responded. I was unfriending you.
Yes, you did.
And yet you took the time to do that.
He wanted me to know.
I did. I was well, not furious, but I was kind of.
Why were you mad about it? Just scroll on.
You know why? Because I put you up on a bit of a pedestal.
I don't post anything political.
I appreciate that.
I don't post anything where I'm like, look, it's me, like in the Alps, and I'm so hot and awesome. Like I try to be really
I like
real.
Posts like that though. I like to see people on vacation saying, having a great time.
I hate it.
Enjoying my life.
I'm like, great. I wish I could do that ever. That'd be cool. You must have a fabulous life
You
and
travel
never be
more
sad.
than anybody I know.
Not for anything fun.
Oh, your friends are not going to appreciate that comment.
Well, they know.
Eric is actually pretty good about social media. He posts pictures of his cats,
which is very good.
The only thing the internet was created for.
It's true.
So he is staying true to
my
the
Instagram.
original.
My Instagram is very cat centric, so I feel like we've got a bonding.
I've got
there,
an actual Instagram thing for my cats,
it's true.
which I probably post 10 times more than I do my own.
Lunar
Yeah.
Leo.
That Instagram, I assume your cats run it. They
Yeah,
tried to follow me on my Instagram, and I declined because I don't feel like your cats need to know what I'm up to. I follow your cats, but I don't feel like they need to follow.
They do follow Seahawks and Prince stuff. And of course, a bunch of those other cute cats traveling around the world.
Do they
Instagram
follow Strange
companies.
Eons Radio?
Yes.
Oh, good.
That's good. That's very important.
Speaking of Eric,
Oh my
you were
God.
on the
Your turn.
CZ Media podcast
Yes,
last
I
week,
was.
and I listened to it, and I was like, God damn, I wish he brought 1/10 of that energy to his own podcast. That was super interesting, and you had all sorts of interesting things to say, and I was just like, Jesus, where did all this energy come from?
Carlos brought the questions, man.
He was engaging him and not just pinning him in a corner and throwing
Why do you like
rotting
Kevin Smith?
fruit at
Why do you
him.
like this?
All
What the
right,
fuck?
let's not dwell on the past. Vanessa, you have an episode coming up. Oh no, it just dropped today, didn't
Oh my
it?
God,
Oh, yeah, no,
it
today,
did. I've been on the road all day. I didn't even
I
have a
haven't
chance
had
to check in.
to listen, but I will be listening.
Oh God, I hope
And
it's okay.
judging.
Fair.
No different than your regular podcast.
I was definitely more inebriated on that podcast than I am on our podcast, except for that one time.
Well, that doesn't take a lot. There's one and yeah.
That's true. I have become such a lightweight, but yeah, I was very chill. I was very loose.
A Zoom. Excuse me, let me say that one more time.
Sorry, what?
A Zoom podcast.
A Zoom podcast where we were talking face to face, but in very far away. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Completely different houses.
Yes.
Just like we have been doing up till now.
Yes.
Yeah, which by the way, my mom loves. She has loved our YouTube videos of our live podcast streams.
Oh,
Sorry
because you
about
can
that.
see your face.
No, because she loves seeing your guys' face. I asked her this. I was like, is it because you're seeing me? And she's like, no, they are so fun to watch.
I see you all the time.
Yeah, she's sick of me. She birthed me. She's spent time with me. You guys are new and exciting. She's really enjoyed watching your interactions and the way that,
Oh, I love
Yeah.
your mom.
That's nice.
yeah, she loves you guys.
Your mom's pretty cool too.
Yeah, your mom's freaking awesome, dude.
Don't get me started on my mom.
I have a mom crush on your mom.
She responded to me finally seeing a boob and said she felt bad for feeling sorry for me, and she didn't know that I was watching boobs the whole time. So clearly still momming it up.
She didn't know she had a boy child. Just curious.
I also then, after you, Vanessa, recorded a Zoom podcast with Carlos, and then it crashed. His program crashed, and he lost it all. And I'm okay with it because he spent the entire episode berating me for wearing full-length pants.
What?
When I told him that I had gained weight while I had COVID, he said he noticed. So it was like one of these episodes where I was like, geez, what is going the clearly the bloom is off the rose.
That is very possible. He and I also discussed your guys' relationship, and I did tell him that you definitely didn't mind all the times that he was giving you shit. So
Oh, don't tell him that.
I know there was alcohol involved.
Yeah, that helps. That
True
makes a
serum.
difference. Yeah.
Okay, so what I don't want to do anymore, I don't want to be the nerd on the nerd program that talks about everything he hates. So I'm not going to tell you how much I fucking hated Boba Fett last week and how much I hated Eternals and hope that it did so badly I never have to see those 28 characters again.
And not that they are definitely going to boot the next entire section of the Marvel universe probably off of that.
I will be furious if they do that.
We'll see what happens. I bet they won't.
Yeah, I think Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
The new Doctor Strange is going to be more along the lines of.
Well, it'll be multiverse,
The
and then
future, yeah.
what happens after multiverse.
Right.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
What I am going to talk about is a program that I watched on Hulu called Dope Sick.
Oh,
Guys familiar with this at all?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard it's incredible.
It is incredible and eye-opening, and it'll just make you angry. And if you're someone like me, it'll just make you angrier because when we finish the podcast, you guys have had to listen to me complain about vaccine mandates and all that stuff. And while I'm not terribly thrilled with the vaccine. I'm very upset with the vaccine mandate.
Mhm.
But after watching Dope Sick, I'll never trust a goddamn word that the FDA says ever again.
Yeah.
Now that I know they're all in cahoots with Big Pharma and all of this stuff. It's one of those shows. The premise of the show is OxyContin and the opioid crisis that we
The most
have.
successful drug dealers to ever exist on this planet.
It's
And got away with it.
insane. Well, I mean, the company went bankrupt, but the people who ran the company
The
are
family
very, very wealthy.
Are
fine.
fine. They're just fine.
They're just fine.
Teeny
And
tiny settlements.
just all of the things they were doing and all the tricks they were doing, I think you could find a pretty clear correlation to a lot of the stuff that has happened in the last couple of years. And so I guess what I would just say is if you are getting your information about the virus or the vaccine from your regular news channels, you need to know that you are being propagandized. That is not news. That is what the pharmacies or the big pharmaceutical companies are writing for the people who read news. So it's just so distressing.
So where would you say is a good, reliable source of information?
Well, I think there, sounds crazy, but there are plenty of podcasts out there that all they do is news dissection and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
I mean,
they actually talk about,
Look them up too. Just don't find
Yeah.
somebody that, this person says what I want to hear.
Yeah.
So they must be honest.
Yeah.
Look into them deeper to see what they're going on. Because
Yeah.
honestly, everybody with a podcast is trying to make money too.
sure.
Yeah. that's
Especially if
true.
they're selling books or t-shirts or anything like that.
Mhm.
They're not just there as the public good. They're there as hopefully disseminating good information, but they're also there to make money.
I feel like the more
that's-
boring the individual, the more truthful they are.
That can sometimes be a
least
problem.
Probably some
charismatic.
truth to that, but
I've found a couple of sources recently where I'm like, you really sound like you don't care about the money. So
You know what? I could go into any doctor's office and get an opioid prescribed to me, no problem.
mhm.
And that's so unsafe. So
Yeah.
that should tell you exactly
weird
what's
thing-
really going on.
that's kind of an extreme too, though, because my mom was put on opioids and when she was spiraling down in dementia, and the doctor was trying to pull back how much he gave her. I'm like, I appreciate that,
Right.
but at this point,
Yeah.
I'm not
just-
worried about
Let's just make her
the
pain-free.
Right. So it's like he was
Yeah.
fighting against giving her opioids. So
It depends
again, it's
what
to
situation
take
they're in.
everything and say everybody's
course.
bad and everybody at the FDA is full of shit and everybody at the CDC is full of shit. They're not. The problem is,
The FDA, yes.
you're talking probably about 20, 30,000 people work for that company.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the people who make the decisions.
That's where you get into politics and big business, and that's where the problems come in.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that's why you want to balance everything out. And anybody who says, do your research, my first response to that is bullshit. Tell me what your research was that got you to the point you believe what, like drinking urine is good for COVID. And
Right.
I'll
Or
see how
bleach.
you came to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And are you full of shit? Or did you actually, is there some real solid info behind it?
Yeah.
Because just doing your own research can lead you down a path to total bullshit. And
Yeah.
if you get in that echo chamber, and I'm not saying echo chamber A or B, any echo chamber,
Sure.
Yeah.
you will be completely cut off. It's weird if you go to wherever you sit politically, if you go to the other side on Twitter or something and dive down into the comments, it's like it's an entirely different fucking world.
Yeah.
We're living in two entirely different worlds right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's becoming two.
Yeah.
It's very
Wow.
much two.
But that is also by
And-
design.
Yes.
It is.
Oh yeah, that's the easy way to get people to lose their shit. Blame. I know your life sucks. Here's who to blame for it.
Yes.
Yep. Vote for my guy. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not going to fix it.
buy
but
my
I'm
products
telling you, I'm
or-
going to fix it, but I'm not going to fix it. but
yeah.
but that guy's to blame. So you don't want him or her.
Right.
It's kind of what it always boils down to for me with conspiracy theories. It really is, what is the benefit? So when you look at a website and you're trying to think, okay, is this honest or not? It's like, do these guys want a bunch of subscribers stores? Do these who's advertising on their banners? You know,
How
what kind
many-
of articles are they doing? Are they more divisive? How long have they been around for? What are they, what are they promoting? What books are they trying to sell or whatever? Like
Mhm.
there's always just looking at the money and the benefits versus the price. Like if they're not getting anything out of it, and it sounds like they're really trying to give you honest to goodness information that, they actually scraped together because they're a scientist, I feel like that's probably a little bit better than the guy who's trying to give you drugs.
Like,
or tell you not to take drugs.
Pop up. Okay, I'm done with your
Yeah,
stupid site.
100%. 100% yes.
I hate it because
Or I
after
have
the
5 million subscribers. Come on.
after the show, I went on to a bunch of websites and was researching, who owns what companies
Sure.
and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, Pfizer owns a lot of the news companies, but
Mhm.
even the medical websites I was on, then you'd scroll down and halfway down was an ad for Pfizer.
Yeah.
Whether it was the vaccine or something else by them, and you were like, oh shit, well, these guys can't be trusted now because
Yeah.
they're taking money from the
Yeah.
company that.
I get really confused. So when I go and visit my mom's place, she watches a lot of CNN. Sorry, Mom, I'm outing you. She watches a lot of CNN. And in the ad breaks, it's so weird because the ads are literally for like Republican candidates. And everyone who's watching CNN literally just listened to somebody scream about how awful these people are. And then there's an ad for them. And I'm like, what is happening? Like
Right.
what is going
It's all
on?
money. It's
Is it
all-
just money?
it's all
Is
money,
it
yeah.
that they're trying to get you more angry? Like what is
I can
happening?
guarantee you there are a shitload of people that watch CNN and Fox for hating it.
Oh,
for sure, yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Okay.
But
Yeah.
it all boils down to money in some way or some.
It is
somehow.
unfortunately why you're not going to find a real middle of the road news program. The same reason we're not going to see a middle of the road candidate anymore is because the only way you get the money
Mhm.
as a candidate is to, you have to appeal to the far left or the far right.
And you have to be charismatic, and to a certain extent, you do have to be an actor. You have to be able to put on a performance, and that means that if you're uncharismatic, you will never be a politician, which means you might be the smartest person in the room. You might have the best ideas, but you're not going to get elected and put in charge of the things that would actually be good for you to be in charge of. So
Absolutely.
it's really tough. It's a really tough scenario. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're more paranoid than you were before. Great.
Yes. Yeah. So you guys, at the end of this episode, you're going to hear me screaming.
Have you watched the pharmaceutical documentary on
No,
Netflix?
but I searched it up and I found it and I put it on my list. I was just like,
Yeah.
Enough.
well, I was like, how angry do I want to be?
Yeah.
I really have to, gauge my anger level these days.
Oh man, when I go down those rabbit holes, I go full bore. I'm like, I'm going to watch the next 5 documentaries just back to back.
Yeah.
By the end, I'll be a genius.
The thing that makes me
And
furious is there is absolutely a
confused.
conspiracy here. And the conspiracy is they don't really care about our health one way or the other. And it's
Yeah.
all about money. And
money.
that's probably what every conspiracy boils down to.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
always
money or power.
100%. I love people who are. I literally had this conversation yesterday about people who are like, "Oh, I don't know whether or not they're going to do another Spider-Man." I'm like, how much money did they just make?
Yeah.
How much money could they make?
Yeah.
There is all you have to do is look at the money. Like, you think Hollywood has some other thing going on in the back of their heads other than money? You're crazy. It is the stock market. There's nothing else happening. There's no magic.
Yeah.
There's no secret. It's literally, will it make us money? Yes, no.
Yep.
Then do we do it? Yes, no. It's, oh my God.
And that's why you'll never see Marvel get Spider-Man back. Because Sony's
Sony's
like,
like, yeah.
no, we're good with this
Yeah.
arrangement.
We
Yeah,
managed to make one of these superhero franchises work.
Exactly. And I do really think, like, I can't imagine that Sony would be like, we're not going to work with Disney again to make over $1 billion. No.
In fact, we're
Pride.
starting to hear that there may even be an Amazing Spider-Man 3 with
Jesus.
with what's his name again? To kind
Andrew
of-
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield to kind of finish his trilogy. And I'm like,
I love him.
I mean, I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'd watch it. I mean, but I'd
Yeah.
watch pretty much anything with Spider-Man on it. So,
We are Marvel dorks. We do have our.
We certainly are. All right, you've been listening to Strange Eons Radio News. Now back to our regular program.
Yes. So that I guess that's what you were watching. Is it? Well, I checked out a film that both of you have seen, I believe. And I finally watched Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And?
I cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're a big fucking baby, too.
Well, yeah. No, I really liked it. I didn't have a massive problem with it. I think the ending there were like 5 endings, and I don't know why they needed to keep going. And I was like, why are you now driving the car across a bridge? What is happening? Just stop. It's fine. We were there. We're good. We're done. But I didn't expect that film to, absent fathers, guys. It's oh my God. Oh my God.
There's a lot of heart in it.
There's
for sure.
a lot of
there
heart.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like I said, it doesn't feel like the first 2 movies, but clearly a lot of love,
Mhm.
especially for that first movie.
Yeah.
Which maybe that Ghostbusters reboot didn't have.
I think the Ghostbusters reboot was an SNL skit.
Huh?
Shockingly.
Fair
I'm
enough.
always trying to be, I don't know why I'm trying to be politically correct when it comes to that movie, but Vanessa then just goes, no, it's trash. It was trash.
It was
fire.
trash. It was total trash. Tell me what anyone's like character was. Anyone.
Because it was what it was
Right.
on social media.
Yeah. I don't think that means we need to give death threats to the African American actress in it.
Well, no.
That's a little far, guys. But you can still say that movie sucked.
Why did you look at me when you said that? I apologize for it on Twitter.
You know what? I
If
didn't read your Twitter.
anyone was offended,
Oh, Jesus.
Yes,
an apology.
That's my kind of apology. Sorry, I hurt your feelings.
So I've got a couple, but they've been talked a lot on the show. So I'm just
Okay.
going to rattle off a couple quick ones you guys
Yeah.
have got me watching.
Oh, good.
Arcane
Yeah.
is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You like it? Okay.
God, it's gorgeous. The
It's-
animation
It is really cool looking. I'll give it that.
And it builds to a really solid story. I know nothing about the game. I know nothing about these characters. So it's all built on the story that they wrote. And it gets really good, man. That bit where she lights the blue. Like, oh, Jesus.
Ah.
So that was really cool. I'm 6 episodes into Yellow Jackets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We started watching yesterday. And it was
Whoa.
like 5 or 6 o'clock. And I said, oh, man, we can finish. I looked up. Oh, shit, there's 10 episodes. I don't know if we're going to watch for another 4-5 hours tonight.
Oh, you pussies. Come
But it's
on.
Good. Good.
I'm 9 in, and it's
Mm.
I haven't watched the one from yesterday yet.
I
so.
did.
The
Is
last
it-
one. Is that the last
Are
one?
you happy
is
or
it-
not happy?
Well, I'm happy. I'm not sure that everybody would be happy with it, but they got signed for a second season
Oh, okay.
when episode 5 came out.
Oh.
This has been
I
like
was not
a
paying attention.
juggernaut for Showtime.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's the
mean, I
biggest thing
signed up.
since like Dexter or something for them.
It was making people's best of the year before it was done.
Yeah.
So
It's incredible. It's incredible storytelling.
Mhm.
And anybody who hasn't checked out Yellow Jackets yet and enjoyed at least the first episode of Lost, you should check it out.
Yeah, that's a good way.
and the first episode is available for free on Amazon if you kind of want to see if
Get a
it's something
feel.
you'd be interested in getting your 30-day free pass.
Yeah.
For Showtime. Showtime has said that they have seen a record number of subscribers since the show started snowballing and getting
Oh,
all
that's
the
good.
accolades.
Very
So that's
cool.
really cool. Another one there, or
Well, we haven't mentioned it before, so I'll see if you're going to talk about it. If you don't,
Oh.
I'll think.
well, I found Archive 81 this weekend.
Oh, weird. That's not the one I was thinking about, but that was the one I was going to knock out
Oh.
and talk about another one if you did.
Wow.
But damn, fuck, man,
I was watching it going,
3.
I should just text Eric and see if he's watching because this is his favorite kind of show.
Pretty close, yeah. 3 or 4. I think I'm 3 or 4 episodes in. I don't remember how.
Vanessa, have you
what
heard
is this?
anything?
I
Oh, it's-
literally went on Netflix today and saw number 1 show is Archive 81. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. And that's
You-
all I know about it.
You need to watch it because it's about a guy who restores video from old videotapes and stuff
Ooh.
like that.
Mhm.
And it's also slightly a ghost story, although I think there's maybe some time travel involved. There's definitely a demonic cult.
Yes.
It's very just weird and hard to nail down, and I love shit like that.
Mhm.
So, in the same way Yellow Jackets is. Eric, have you gotten
Yeah.
to something supernatural yet in the show?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that came out of nowhere.
The seance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh,
Whoa.
what?
Yes. Yeah. That
We
is
had a
a
little
good
Evil
one.
Dead in this cabin here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it's a Blumhouse production.
yeah.
I was like, damn. But the lead guy was in a movie I talked about for something like Technology Gone Awry or something. I was like, I remember watching it going, the best part of this movie is this lead dude. Apparently Blumhouse agreed with me and gave him this.
Are we talking Archive 81 right now?
Yeah. Gave him the main role for this movie.
I love him because he's a black dude. He's got kind of an unusual face that makes him look like he's very earnest all the time.
Yes.
He just looks very interested in what you have to say. If I was going to get plastic surgery, I wouldn't be like, could you lift my eyes or, any of that. I'd be like, could you make me look like I'm paying attention or like I care what you're saying? This guy looks, he's got such a warm face.
Yeah.
And he was in a movie called Uncorked that I loved
was
where
it?
he played a guy who was trying to become a sommelier.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good. And he was really good in it. So yeah, Archive 81. Love it.
Nice.
Good.
Well, I started watching kind of, I guess it's the soul sister to Squid Game, and that is The Silent Sea.
Yeah.
Don't know this one.
I've heard some good and some bad. Or maybe not bad, but boring.
I'm like 3 episodes in. I love sci-fi. I mean, it's hard for me to not
You don't
like
sound
sci-fi.
like you love it.
I don't love it yet, but it could wow me still. I'm gonna keep going and see if anything really sparks. But right now it's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's no Squid Game. But it has people from Squid Game, so it's like, oh hey, you're
yeah.
really cool.
Oh.
Yeah, the guy who plays the like sort of thug dude.
Oh, yeah.
He's like the head of some corporation, so he's like kind of a white collar dude in this. And then
Got a range.
the guy from Train to Busan is like the head of this exploration moon team, and he's like, he has secrets and he's dark and he has a tattoo, but he's still got that really nice sweet face. And you're like, no, you're gonna save us all. It's fine.
The one that made you cry at the end of Train to Busan is,
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Okay, since you mentioned Archive 81, I'll mention the one that I thought you might mention.
Okay.
Peacemaker.
I was waiting because I figured one of you guys.
So good.
I forgot I
Holy
watched
shit. Watched 2 out of 3. I haven't watched the third one yet, but Jesus, that is holy shit.
So much fun.
God, yes.
I mean, what a ridiculous show.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, as soon as they start the dance number through the credits, you're like, oh, okay, I get it now.
It took me a little bit to get it. The first episode, I was like, what the living goddamn hell am I looking at right now as you're watching these people do a really silly dance? But that show it's great. It's absolutely great.
The dance is made sillier by the fact that they are all so serious while they're dancing.
And some of those people are, as far as I can tell so far, have like pretty much no role in the show. And I'm like, you say one sentence.
Yeah. Few of them, I think, are getting bigger roles, but
probably.
And John Cena has no rhythm, and neither do like 3 or 4 other people in it, which just makes the robotic movement look great.
You know what?
He's really good at faking not having rhythm. I don't know.
You know what John Cena has, which I just didn't realize, is like incredible comedic timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That guy knows how to deliver a really stupid line.
You should see Blockers.
Oh, really?
Yes. The scene alone of him talking when he goes butt chugging. Oh my God. That is such a different movie than you expect. We were talking about heart,
because
and
I thought it was
full of heart.
That's
really?
weird.
I'm gonna have to watch
it has the worst title.
I know.
And the trailer was god awful for that. Now I want to see it.
No, I ended up watching it partially because like John Cena from something else. I don't know what the hell we'd seen him in. No, it definitely wasn't that. But we're like, let's check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so different than what I expected.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I'm loving Peacemaker, not just because of all the music I loved in my teens and 20s.
Very, very good music. Very good music.
all the glam rock and everything. But just first of all, it is so filthy that I was like, wow, this is really filthy.
Chimp arm.
I was just like, I am a little surprised they let all of the, like DC let all of these lines go when he's bad mouthing Batman and other things. I was like, wow, that's a line I don't think I thought I'd ever hear.
I didn't think I'd see a vagina, and by golly, I did.
But on top of that vagina, you also get an eagle hugging a human.
That eagle
pretty heartwarming.
is so good. What a great character add-on. I'm just that eagle the whole time. I'm like, don't you kill that fucking eagle.
No, can't happen.
Yeah,
I don't
that
think
won't
it'll
happen.
I heard an interview with James Gunn. They were asking him about the dance scene, and he was saying, I know a lot of people are going to skip it, skip the credits every time. But I couldn't tell if he was being sincere. He said it changes slightly as the story gets a little more serious.
I wondered
and
that.
He goes, the dance starts seeming very sad. And I was like,
wow.
Shit, now I'm going to be watching for that. So.
Yeah, it's been played every time I've watched it. I've watched all the way through
Absolutely.
this dance. And each time I did have a moment where I was like, is it slightly different? No, it's not. It's the same. But like every time they introduced somebody new, I was like, I feel like we're paused on them like half a beat longer, but maybe I'm crazy. I might be crazy.
That would be super interesting if they changed it that slightly.
I want to put them on a
episode
timeline now. It's going to happen. I'm just going to cut them right in, see what changes.
Layer them.
Change the opacity and just scroll through and see what changes.
That opening theme is from the band Wigwam, which was a band I loved like 10 years ago. Just some, for whatever reason in Europe, they have latched on to that 80s rock sound, and they just keep cranking out bands that keep having big hits over there and being completely ignored over here. But if you like that kind of music, you're getting a lot of it in Peacemaker.
Man, no shit.
I complained to Eric that there was no way that that Firehouse album had been released in vinyl, and then Eric went and found it on eBay or something for like $600.
Yeah, some Korean press or something like that.
I was like, okay, well, so apparently that butterfly was a vinyl connoisseur.
Yeah. We're just 8 people and took them.
Good point. I guess we'd say 100% on the strange tomatoes meter.
Yeah,
for Peacemaker.
absolutely.
Yes.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we take a break? Vanessa, you can jump on Facebook. Tell everybody if maybe you'd like to have a tomato soup dream tonight or
I'm going to
something
talk
like
about
that.
the taste of the water in this water bottle and how it's surprisingly not metallic.
Oh, good.
Riveting stuff as usual. And when we get back, we are talking about mind control and hypnosis.
This is Kreskin, an expert on ESP. ESP, extrasensory perception, mind over matter. Now Kreskin and Milton Bradley have devised a game about ESP. Kreskin's ESP. With Kreskin's ESP, you may reveal your feelings on love, on finance, on career, on travel, and other fascinating subjects.
It says yes.
What results would you find with Kreskin's ESP? You can spell out names and words, guess ages, play lie detector, and more. Play Kreskin's ESP.
And we have returned. Listeners, we've just spent a long 20 or 30 minute break. Vanessa literally stood up when we took the break, threw her headphones down and said, fuck you and this fucking podcast, stormed out. And then I was perfectly willing to let her go, quite honestly. But Eric said, you got to go apologize to her. So I spent the last 20 minutes out in the rain telling Vanessa that I wouldn't make fun of her Facebook posts anymore.
You can make fun of them, just don't unfriend me. I have very few real friends.
Vanessa, we already went through all of this, and I said that I would be your friend again.
Okay, thank
Can
you.
we just get back onto this episode?
This is why
Move
you're a
on, we're
writer,
good.
sir.
We're all good.
What the audience doesn't know is it's been 30 seconds.
Whatever. God, it's theater of the mind, Vanessa. Jeez.
I'm a truther, okay? I'm a truther about the
Jesus.
truth of the moment. I don't mean that kind of truther. I mean like a real truth-telling. Okay.
Vanessa, this was your genre.
It
right?
was.
Yes.
It was. I guess I should talk about it, huh?
Yes.
All right. Well, this week I decided to steer us into a suggestion that was given to me from one of our UK listeners,
Oh,
a friend of mine, Tom Kirkham. Thank you so much for your suggestion of mind control / hypnosis. Ooh. So
How much money did he pay you?
None. Are we supposed to be asking for money?
Well, no.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. Well,
But it just seems to happen.
he's
yeah,
in
as long as people have value out of what we're doing.
He's in a band. He might be able to make us a song of some kind. or
Yeah,
something.
we would
Oh,
love that.
shit,
yeah,
Now
that'd
that
be
you volunteered him for this, he'll
awesome.
never forgive you.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have a baby due in like half a week. But once that happens, yeah, song.
They'll
Anyway,
have plenty of time to just sit around.
That's
yeah, he's the
true.
dude. What's
Yeah.
he going to be doing?
exactly. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't just agree with you. So for this week, you know what? I was really thinking about a movie. And I was like, I keep meaning to talk about this one movie and I'd really like to. But you know what? Every time I pick a popular movie on this podcast, I get shit from my co-hosts
I
about
know,
how it
I
would
know.
be it would be really good if I really picked something people hadn't heard of and seen and was popular. So
Okay, and we're back. Listener, what you don't know is that we just turned everything off.
No,
Vanessa
you don't erase
stormed
me.
outside.
You don't erase me. All right, this is my time. My time, Kelly. We'll get to you in a minute. All right, so I went with the 2014 film Listening.
Next suggestion. Kill the dog. I have to kill my dog. My life depends on it. We need something new.
No one's ever done this before.
What's the worst that could happen?
The only thing fast enough to decode the human brain is the human brain.
Whatever it is you're really thinking goes through the wire. Please, God, don't let him die. What was it like? Better than sex. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just invented telepathy.
The ability to read minds is a matter of national security.
What did you do?
Hello, David. We'd like to offer you some employment with the company.
Scary world this is headed.
Do you realize how many lives this would save?
The power to implant thoughts. We just unlocked it all for them.
They're turning our own technology against us.
I've done something very bad. I need to set it right. We never meant to create a weapon.
We're bringing the cavalry.
What is more important, changing the world or changing us?
This is the end of freedom. No, it's the birth of freedom.
Because it had a really cool trailer and I hadn't heard of it before. Have either of you heard of it?
No.
Don't think so.
Listening?
Listening, not
What
the
year?
listening. It's 2014.
That is a bad title.
Got a lot of awards. Had a pretty fun looking trailer.
From
Good question. We'll get there.
okay.
Not anyone I would have actually respected. That's for sure. Well, a few places. Rotten Tomatoes score would have been good if I'd looked at this ahead. 17% from critics
Ouch.
of the 12 people who watched it. 42% from audience, 250 people who watched it. That is mighty high. You guys need more exciting content in your life. 42%.
17% and 42%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird.
All right.
It's really weird, but I would say 17 is way closer to probably what it should be at. Writer-director combo, Khalil Solons was behind this project. He has made one film.
Oh, what film was that?
Was it listening?
He was listening. He has produced two other
Sorry,
films.
I wasn't. No, I can't even go there. Go continue. Sorry.
He has produced two other films, including Terror Eyes and Speed of Light. No, I have not heard of them. Starring a bunch of people who have been in nothing I've ever heard of, including the star Thomas Strappard as David Thorogood. Trust me, The names are not genius. He has been in 12 projects, including Shed of the Dead as a zombie, Jingle and Bell's Christmas Star as the voice of Jingle, and a bunch of just indies. Basically, everything's just shorts and nothing. It's nothing. Also, Artie Air, who plays his kind of co-star as Ryan Cates. He's been in 17 things, none of which I'd heard of. All indies and shorts. Amber Marie Bollinger as Jordan. She's been in 44 things. She was really interesting. So she's been in a lot of shorts, a lot of TV movies, but she's really one of those people who's in pretty much every commercial. She's been in over 50 commercials. She was in 29 episodes of Hollywood is Hard, a web series. She was in The Death and Return of Superman, a short film, and she was the Dorito Dream Girl. And I believe it must have been one of those Dorito commercials. On her IMDb, which is incredible and clearly written by her, it starts off by telling you that she was the Bellevue High School record holder for the high jump.
Like as in Bellevue, Washington?
I'm not sure.
Either that or Bellevue, New York, and that ain't a really good place to set records.
No. What's her name?
Her name is Amber Marie Bollinger.
Amber, if you're listening, please get back to us. We want to know if you're local.
Yeah.
Vanessa would like to interview you for the
She's
next
actually really incredibly cool. Like, as far as out of all of these human beings on here, she definitely took liberties with her IMDb bio, and it ends with, as of 2018, Amber is a scream slash singing in a post-rock band, digging in her garden, scrolling through Instagram, working 3 jobs to buy organic food, and abandoning all hope for an acting career. So,
I kind of like this chick.
I know, right? She's pretty freaking cool. And then Christine Haberman as Melanie. She's been in 18 things. Her IMDb has pictures of her with and without glasses.
Ooh.
I know. It's
all
like
the looks.
Such a headshot joke. It's like clearly one session, one of which she's wearing glasses, one of which she's not. I'm like, oh, girl. And last but not least, Steve Hanks as Matthews, who's kind of like the Southern government dude. He's been in 37 things. Early TV stuff, including 1 episode of Dukes of Hazzard, 1 episode of TJ Hooker, 1 episode of Charlie's Angels, and 10 episodes of Bad Cats.
This is not a young guy then.
No, he's an older guy, and he also doesn't really have much of a career, but at least I'd heard of anything he'd ever been in. So I got really excited when he came up. So the story, we start with a guy walking on a trail. He is looking for answers to a problem he has, and he discovers some monks. Seems he was trying to find the monks. He gets there and he's like, yo, I need to learn how to meditate to fix the problems that I created in the world. Flashback to previous time. We're in a blue room, as in it's color graded, very, very blue, to tell us something. I'm not sure what, other than he is down on his luck. David is having a lot of problems with his wife, who he has grown distant from. They clearly had like a kid in high school or something, because he is in college. His best friend, Ryan, who is living in a yellow color space, is broke and living in a studio apartment with his grandmother. Seems like there is one bed. She never gets out of bed. She's always in the same position. It's very, very strange, but they love each other and it's very sweet, I guess. And they are both geniuses attending school and hoping to advance their theory on using tech to read minds. They decide to steal a bunch of computers and build their own lab in David's garage so that they can do trials on each other. They're basically trying to jumpstart/launch their project beyond the constraints of what their school is letting them do by stealing a bunch of equipment, which definitely will not become a problem ever. Now, Ryan finds himself smitten with this hot chick who walks by him in school named Jordan. He notices her as she walks by, as him and David are trying to haul off another enormous piece of equipment that they've stolen with a like light blanket over the top of it. And he says, and I quote to her very tiny ass, "Those Bunsen burners are too hot to handle."
What was the writer's name on this? I'd like to have some words with him.
Khalil Stolens. It was just, maybe the only thing he's ever written. So he was doing the best.
Big fan of Bunsen burners.
Bunsen burners?
Well,
It was so
because
clunky.
buns. Do you get it? Buns.
Yeah, I got that. But the first thing I think
Burners.
of is a Bunsen burner, which looks nothing like an ass.
No, I know. But you have to, and then you have to do the backwards math back to buns and then
Listen.
go,
I just finally saw a boob. I haven't quite gotten to the ass yet, so I'm just going to take you guys' word on it that it does not look like Bunsen burner.
Well, generally, if you're going to make a really bad ass joke, like there should actually be a butt that you're looking at with the camera. And I mean, look, this girl is gorgeous, but there is not an ass on her. She has beautiful legs. She has a beautiful face. I think has an okay rack. I'm not sure. Seems fine, but her butt is not the quality that would jump off the screen at you. So it was very shoehorned, I will say.
I almost hear somebody booking a ass implant right now.
Don't do it. You're better than that. So anyway, after taking her out on a date, Ryan invites her to the garage. Now, David is pissed because they have agreed to a no girls rule. There's even a sign that says it behind them occasionally.
The He-Man, what is it? He-Man Woman Haters Club from Little Rascals.
It's basically, I don't know, maybe so they don't like fight over her or have, conflict. I'm not sure what the no girls rule is about. But the good thing is it turns out she's a genius and she can help them both push these ideas further and go past the limits that they're running into. So they find a way not only to start to read the brain, they can get like kind of one word, which sucks because you think 1,000 things a second. And she's like, well, what if, and I quote, you need nanotubes. Behold, nanotubes. That is the solution. I don't know what that means.
What are they trying to do again?
They're trying to be able to read the human brain. They're trying to be able to use tech that'll like print out what people are thinking.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So nanotubes. So the other problem is that computers are too slow to pick up and process through like coding what the brain is saying. So she suggests, why don't you use the fastest computer on Earth? Another human brain. And so they decide to hook up human brain to human brain so that one person can hear the thoughts of another person. Lo and behold, it actually seems to work. Now, in the meantime, David's relationship with his wife is becoming more and more strained. It's just awful to sit there and deal with watching these scenes. Like, she's just pissed at him the whole time. It's like the angry wife that has no personality written for her whatsoever. She's like, I'm working a shitty job. And now I come back and you guys are just in your garage and you want me to go on a date with you and I'm all dressed up, but you're in the garage and there's a hot chick here for no reason. And I'm angry because I can't deal with a hot chick existing anywhere within a 2-block radius of myself. Beautiful writing. Love it. Anyway.
Direct quotes, I'll bet.
Would not be surprised. He also is not helping his daughter with her volcano project. And that's very sad. And on top of it, in fairness, Jordan is the girl, the new hot, smart girl, is occasionally randomly showing her nipple to him and wearing a red bra around the garage for no reason. So it kind of makes sense that there would be a tension, but the wife doesn't see any of this. So I'm a little surprised. I shouldn't say that Jordan is only hitting on David. She is also mostly hitting on Ryan. So it's an equal opportunity hitting on situation. Now, so when shit hits the fan, it gets cray-cray. Obviously, Ryan's grandmother, who he shares that small space with, dies. And he can't even afford to get her a casket. At the same time, David is getting evicted from his place, which means his wife and kid are getting evicted. Everything is really, really getting crazy. So David tries a sort of last-minute hope of trying to patch things up with his wife by putting the machine on her, hoping that his thoughts will convince her that he loves her so, so much and she doesn't need to worry and they can like make everything work. But of course, he has random thoughts about having sex with the other girl. And his wife is like, cool, we're done. Bye. And he's like, I didn't have sex with her. She's like, well, that's not what I saw. And he's like, yeah, but I may have thought about it, but I didn't do it. And she's like, okay, cool, goodbye. Ryan decides that they need cash really bad. So invites some rich dudes over to check out this crazy setup that they have and try to just get some cash flow going, which unfortunately leads to them getting found out, shut down, arrested. I'm not really sure who these people are who are like arresting them and how it doesn't really make sense how all of this is happening. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. Government's getting involved. Turns out Jordan was a spy for the government.
Spoiler alert on a movie I'm never going to watch.
I don't know. She said nipples. I might give it a shot.
It's like half a nipple.
I've become quite a fan since last episode.
They're pretty fantastic.
Sorry, Mom.
Anyway, so Jordan was, of course, during those mind-bending sharing sessions, she was implanting these ideas in their heads so that they would start to kind of play off of each other and give certain things away and, inevitably end up in her clutches, I guess, by getting them to think that she was really sexually into both of them. But now she's in a nice government suit and hanging out with a Southern guy who wants to develop their tech and will clear all of the criminal records against them and give them all the money in the world that they want, so long as they just help him do what this secret government thing is doing, which is a giant conspiracy to overtake people's brains by injecting brain-reading formula into children with vaccines. So that they can manipulate the world globe. The rest of the film, David comes up with an idea to fix this because he feels awfully guilty, becomes a monk, sabotages them, everyone dies. The end. I'm telling you what happens because no one should see this film. Here are the good things that happen. It's an interesting idea. And Amber Marie Bollinger, who plays Jordan, who's like the nipple chick, she's kind of interesting, and I think there's potential in there. The bad things, the dialogue, lens flares randomly for no apparent reason, color grading never really got a solution. I don't know if it's character-based or location-based. I cannot tell you, but damn if it is not there's green at one point. I think there's purple, and I'm like, where am I? And then when he goes to the monk, there's no color grading, and I'm like, what does this mean? Is it because we're present day, or is it because monks and he has clarity? What does this color grading mean? The text at the start of this film, you're like, oh, it's going to give us a location. It goes, and it's like flips across the top of the screen. I'm like, what's the location? No, it is the actor's name, and it will continue to do that for every additional actor. It goes, and I'm like, oh, it's going to say Belize, or it's going to say Cambodia, or nope, just keeps telling me people's names I've never heard of. The trailer was full of lies. The trailer tells me this is a story about friends who get telepathy on their own because they're magic brained, and the government gets a hold of them and starts doing mind control operations. That is not what I actually sat through. When Ryan is hanging out with his grandma, she has a really big burrito. I cannot stress how big the burrito, is that she's eating.
Is this a phrase for something else?
It is not. It is an enormous burrito.
Okay.
On a plate.
I mean, I dated a girl with an enormous burrito, so.
I mean, was she able to eat it? Were you able?
I think that was probably a bridge too far.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just saying this burrito. I know old people, and old people can't eat a lot of food, and he gave her way too much food, and she was not going to be able to get through that burrito, and I was really fixated on this goddamn burrito. There is a giant needle that they keep sticking directly into people's spines, and no one flinches or notices or cares. It seems just fine. Sound design, really bad. They're trying to cover up their talking because the government's listening in by putting a record on really loud to the point where we, as the audience, have no idea what's being said in the scene at all. And at one point, comically, the kid says, "I can't hear you, Daddy," which is fine. Neither can we. So, it's the tortured wife shit is awful. I don't love when vaccines get crazy ideas put into. Sorry, Kelly. And I just look.
Wait, what?
Here are a few more fun quotes. There is pretty much no trivia in existence on this. It literally doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
Oh, jeez.
So, and the only thing on IMDb, the only piece of trivia about it was that part of it actually was shot in Cambodia. So there you go. Here's some fun quotes. The only thing fast enough to decode the human brain is the human brain. What was it like, this experience? better than sex. Little girl looking up at her mother while the guys are joking around. That's what she said. The wife saying to the husband, what's more important, changing the world or changing us? David, after telling his wife that there's a giant conspiracy and the entire world is going to get inflicted with government altering injections that will force everyone to basically become maybe human bombs or, whatever. She says, I'm sorry you're so stressed. And then hands him divorce papers. Very, very great. And when David comes back as a monk and hangs out with Ryan at a coffee shop, he says, holy shit. Ryan says, holy shit. David says, not quite, just semi-holy.
See, now, you make him sound like this is an entertaining, terrible movie with these great lines.
I would say if you have enough alcohol in you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Eric, when you have decided you're going to watch a particular movie for this podcast, and like 20 minutes in, you hate it, do you just go, I'm sticking this out? This is my pick.
It depends on the kind of hate I have for it. If it's like a Troll 2 hate, I will stick it out. But this sounds like one that, there's a lot of movies.
You had no fun watching this.
Look, let me be clear. I have a really hard time walking out of movies. There was once a time that my brother recalls we were sat through a movie and it was so bad. He looked over at me and I pulled out my book and started reading it. So,
in the theater?
In the theater.
Nice.
Using the glow of the cinema screen to bounce off the page so I could read. Luckily, there was a fire alarm and that made it a let us.
Somebody hated it more than you.
Yeah. They were like, we got to get the fuck out of this and we need our money
And everybody
back.
needs to get out of it. Come on, let's help everyone. That's nice. Nice.
No, I was committed. And by the time it was done, I felt like I needed a PSA.
How did you even hear about this movie?
I just was Googling / looking for different articles on really interesting mind control and hypnosis.
Someone lied to you?
It was in a list.
All righty.
Listening. That's a bad title. I mean,
It's a
right
bad title,
there, you should be like, meh.
The tagline was hide your thoughts, which I thought wasn't too bad.
What was it?
That one's
hide your thoughts.
Hide your thoughts?
That's better than...
Better hide your thoughts.
The
better
poster?
hold on tight.
Nice.
Okay, look. I'm just going to take 1 second. Tell me that doesn't look cool. I'm showing you a poster.
That looks pretty great, actually.
Fucking poster.
Yeah, the poster's
and
pretty cool.
Yeah, and the trailer also looked pretty good. And I was like, at some point, this movie is going to kick off. I'm sure of it. And then I was like, now it's just a student film and I must know more. I mean, I don't know. This guy never made another film, so I'm guessing the reviews were just so bad. He just shamed and walked his way right back out.
Well, we know how hard it is to make a feature.
It is hard. It's hard.
Unless you make a lot of money doing it, you're probably not going to get a second chance. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's my film. There's nothing else really exciting to talk about. Oh, I guess it did come out to theaters on September 11th because, conspiracies and freedom. Freedom, guys.
It depends on what year. Was it 2001? Because a lot of people had something else they were watching that day.
It was 2014.
Oh, right. Shit. All right.
Yeah.
No excuse.
No excuse.
All righty. Well, I'm going to go next.
Sure.
Because I had a weird ass one, but it was not a bad movie.
Yes.
1976, Heart of Glass.
Ich schaue in die Ferne, bis ans Ende der Welt. Und ehe der Tag um ist, kommt schon das Ende. Erst kommt die Zeit ins Stürzen und dann die Erde. Die Wolken kommen ins Rasen. Dann kocht die Erde, das ist das Zeichen. Das ist der Anfang vom Ende. Der Rand der Welt fängt an zu stürzen, alles fängt an zu stürzen. Stürzt nieder und fällt und stürzt und stürzt. Ich schaue in das Stürzen hinein. Ich spüre einen Sog. Es zieht mich, es saugt mich hinunter. Ich beginne zu stürzen. Ich stürze, mich schwindelt vom Stürzen.
This is from Werner Herzog.
Oh, that's why it sounds familiar.
This was Rotten Tomatoes at 92 from critics, 72 from the crowd. Which makes sense. Don't know what the budget is, although it did make $20,000 in Taiwan.
That's pretty good.
And awfully specific.
Yes, that's all the box office I could find. And like I said, this is a Werner Herzog,
Right.
Werner Herzog.
who also directed How Much Wood Would a Woodchuck Chuck?
Really?
Yeah, I heard of that one.
Huh.
Nosferatu the Vampire,
Yeah.
and My Best Fiend,
Yes.
which is about his relationship with Klaus Kinski,
Right.
who's freaking insane. I'm not saying Werner's maybe.
I was just going to say
little-
Werner's a little on the nutty edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's an autist. It was written by Herbert Ochensbach, based on a screenplay by Werner Herzog.
Wait a second. It was written by this guy based on a screenplay by Werner
Yeah,
Herzog?
that's what it said.
Why
That's
didn't
why I
you just use
included
the
that.
Werner Herzog
Keeps
screenplay?
going
I
over
don't
and
know.
over again.
Especially when you're the director.
Maybe he was really
He
excited.
wanted to spread it out. I don't know. That's why I thought. That's why I included that, because it's like
I appreciate
that makes
that.
no sense. He also wrote Punch Drunk, Beer Chase, and Hick's Last Stand.
That's my favorite. Hick and his last stand, very powerful.
Stars Joseph Bilchtar. Or Bill, yeah, I wish it was an E instead of an I, because I can pronounce that very differently. He's in Daughters, Bye Bye Bavario, and Beer Chase.
Also,
And almost every other person in this movie has never been in anything else. There's Stefan Gutler, who's in nothing else. Clemens Schmeltz, who was in Nosferatu, the Vampire.
What year did you say this was?
76.
Okay.
So, this is a weird fucking movie. I'll start out with a basic description and describe why it's so bizarre. This starts off, unsurprisingly, with a guy sitting in a field watching his cows herd by in a deep fog. And he just sits there and watches them all through the credits. And then if you've seen a Werner Herzog movie, you know where this might be going. And then there's a long shot of fog covering a valley as it moves down, and some music playing. And he's describing the falling and the edge of the world and flying to the rise of a new earth. And by
he, do you mean Herzog?
No, the guy sitting on the log.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Narrating.
Gotcha.
And followed by a very oddly 70s sounding music. It's like this weird electric folk 70s. It's really strange. It's not bad, but it's like very weird. 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the movie, this ends.
Oh my
God. So now we've got Joseph, who's the lead guy that was watching his cows. He's trying to convince the villagers that no, they're not seeing giants. But a thief and a murderer are going to cross the bridges into town in a moment, and pans up to 2 bridges, and you see one person cross each of them. I don't know who did what. But and the complication of the film is this is a small Bavarian town where they specialize in glass blowing, specifically a rare ruby glass that's red in color. And the one person who knows how to make it has died.
Uh-oh.
And he left no instructions. He left no, never told anyone how he did it. So everybody's kind of trying to figure out how they're going to live their life now, because this is how they made most of their money. There is this really cool shot. I don't have to talk about story much because I've given you the story. You just heard it.
Also, Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So, God, this is an incredible shot across a working glass factory where you see shortly after you find out this guy has died. It's kind of sounds like a weird reference to make. But you remember that mannequin challenge from a couple of years ago where people stood still while a shot was done of them?
Mm.
And they did like,
kind of,
yeah, they did like weird things like playing ping pong or something. This is akin to that but it's more emotional because nobody's moving because they just don't know how to deal with what's happened. So it's actually pretty cool. There's this strange scene when two men are sitting at a bar arguing of something, and they sort of get in a bar fight where the one guy sort of punches the guy in the face and the other guy pours beer over his head. It really doesn't progress far from that. There's a reason for all of this, and I'll get to that when I'm done talking about the movie, which is only like this much more. There are scenes shot. This movie is shot all over the world in a lot of little ways. Like there's a scene of very obviously Yellowstone Park, which I looked up afterwards, and it was, but it's only like 3 or 4 minutes of the movie. So he traveled from Bavaria to America to shoot Yellowstone Park.
Wow, was it a geyser or something, or
more like the clay pits?
Okay.
So it's but no, it didn't have Old Faithful or anything like that. It's just this weird.
How fucking weird.
Yeah. There is a strange scene that I have no idea what it means. I could probably watch the movie again. I'm guessing I would feel the same way. Because there's this guy points out, "Oh, I've got a letter for you," and they bring in a couch. He takes a knife and he opens up the couch and pulls out like what looks like packing paper shreds, like you might put in a birthday bag or something. It's like very
That's
bizarre.
not a letter. This is a letter.
Right. Well, he's very happy about it, so it seems it's a letter to him, I guess.
Oh my God.
Because he looks inside and starts saying strange things about I see what this means. Okay,
That
sure.
sounds so Lynch rather than, that's weird.
That was very weird. And there's a storyline going on with the guy who is either the mayor of the town or the wealthiest man in town who's trying to figure out how the glass is made and how he's going to survive now that he can no longer sell this glass, and he's looking at it and frequently breaking it.
Oh God.
Like, okay. And it goes back to another scene as things have progressed a little bit where the glass, it's that similar glass blower scene again, except now they're actually all blowing glass. It's a lot longer. And these were apparently real glass blowers who really knew their shit. And so it was really impressive to watch. Nice. Eventually, of course, the money man decides that it must be blood that turned the ruby glass.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, he's insane. There's all kinds of weird little scenes going on. People in bars talking about stuff. And for the remainder of most of the movie, there's a fairly large bar. And the guy from the beginning is just sitting in the bar predicting things, talking about what's going to happen. And people get pissed at him because they think they're wrong. And it's an experience. It's not a story. And
where does the mind control come in?
Here's where we'll get to that.
Okay.
So the movie actually has nobody do any hypnosis or mind control. However, every cast member but one was hypnotized by Herzog before their scene.
What?
What?
The fuck?
Why?
and
He's not trained.
Everybody in his theory is hypnotized while they're on screen, except for the lead guy who's got tons and tons of lines.
Hypnotized? I mean, do you have details on how they were hypnotized? Oh, were they hypnotized to be their character, or
what he would do is he would hypnotize them. He'd feed them their lines because these are all amateurs. None of these people are actors except for the main guy.
you feed them the line during hypnosis?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they'd recite that line. So watching this film and knowing that, it's really weird because everybody is very glazed looking. And occasionally somebody sits in the background making strange hand gestures, or they kind of just walk around for some weird reason. There's some people who don't really look too hypnotized, but some people looked really, really under.
Whoa.
And like there's like the man in waiting for the rich guy is just, there's this really weird scene that I'm wondering if that was an accident where he's kind of leaning near the wall waiting for whatever orders the guy's going to say. And the painting falls and he catches it and then puts it back up. It's like, if that was an accident, that was really fucking cool.
Wow.
So when like that bar fight I was talking about, that's why it's so weird because neither of them got up. Neither of them stood up or did anything. Neither of them really raised their voices. Because in theory, they're all hypnotized.
So like were they given their, I mean, was it, you probably don't know this.
It's worth a shot. We'll
these
find
questions
out.
nobody knows. Did you just say action and they already knew exactly what the scene was? Like they knew they had to get into a fight?
Very little blocking, if any. Not a lot of movement of people in the scene. So I think that helps them some. And so they're just largely reciting their lines.
I wonder if this was this a way for him to have it so that people would memorize something without having to be like badly memorizing stuff?
I think it was just Werner going, or Herzog going, this is a weird idea. I've got to try this.
That's also
in the
possible.
70s, man. Fucking hypnosis shows and all that shit were the craze. So
you could get away with it.
I'll tell you this though. In 2020, what year is it? Two?
Yeah.
In 2022, if you say to me, have you seen that Werner Herzog mind control movie? I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yes, it definitely is not that. But it is heavily hypnotic. And he also does some things like one of my favorite segments in The Shining is when he drives his little big wheel around in a circle, and it's almost like he's hypnotizing you to get ready for the changing to the scene. That opening scenes with the fog and the guy sitting there watching his cows has that effect too. So it was a very relaxing movie to watch.
Wow. What a crazy experience.
It's really interesting. Some of the reviewers consider it probably the most Herzog movie ever made that very few of Herzog people have seen. It's one of his least viewed movies.
Never even heard of it. Yeah.
Herzog hypnotized the actors himself, claiming to have fired the professional hypnotist for peddling new age bullshit, is a quote.
Oh my gosh.
You mean hypnosis?
I was going to say, isn't that exactly what he's doing? But okay.
See, it won a German Film Award for Best Cinematography, whatever their version of the Oscars is. It's gorgeous, of course. The film follows traditional neo-realism with unstylized documentary scenes. So that the glassblowers he went to an actual glassblowers. So it's got this, there's scenes like that are just drilled into reality that feel completely real, completely documentary footage. And then it goes into the realm of like total surrealism. I forgot about that scene. With the guy who get in the bar fight. One of the guys in that fight died.
Wait, what?
In real life?
No, he just died in the movie. I don't know, heart attack or something.
Oh, okay.
But I think it might be awake when all the people are in the bar. But his friend who he got in the fight with decided he needed to be there. So he goes off and brings his corpse back in and dances with him.
Huh.
So, yeah. Lady shrieking at a harpist playing in the dark.
Jesus Christ.
Well, this sounds like Werner.
Oh, God, yes. It is amazing. The final scene was shot at the same location as Ireland's Skeeling Islands, which was a sequence in Star Wars The Last Jedi. The main character is actually based on a Bavarian Nostradamus. The things he was saying were from this Bavarian soothsayer, or whatever you want to say. And he was actually a cow herder, too, so that's why he had him as a cow herder. The movie was shot in Bavaria, a few miles from where Herzog was raised, in the village of Sachrang. Apparently, he considers himself Bavarian.
Herzog?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He is. That is where I'm from. That is what I'm about. I'm not German.
You're not German. If you're Bavarian, you're Bavarian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As somebody who has Bavarian blood, I can.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, like I said, he's shot locations around the world, including Yellowstone and various weird places. Herzog makes an appearance in the movie carrying some of the ruby glass.
Great.
All this makes me happy to be a proud owner of a Werner Herzog Star Wars bobblehead Funko.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, just one.
Does the guy who decides that blood is the way you get, does that play into like him killing people to get?
No, not really.
Oh
my God.
He
What
just sort of gives.
for,
He
then?
just sort of gives all of it to ruby glass that he can find to somebody to put in the lake. And I don't know if he's trying to raise the value of what's left or if he's just lost it and wants to destroy it all so nobody else will ever learn how it's made. The movie is not full of build up and payoff.
They should have slaughtered all those cows and used the blood. I mean, if you're like
what
in a
those
book,
cows do?
well, they're bookending, right? If you
Nah,
start with the
okay.
cows,
They
I
didn't
guess I
end
can
with
get
the
behind
cows.
it.
well, I'm just.
They started with the guy being philosophical and ended with the guy
Listen,
being
Vanessa
philosophical.
just said that she had a better ending than Werner Herzog did. for
I
his
didn't.
movie. So-
No, I didn't say those
what I heard.
words. I was suggesting.
Wait, where are you going, Vanessa? Jeez.
Suggesting ideas. That's all.
By the way,
Yes.
the way that you get red color in glass blowing is through something called gold salts.
Oh, right.
So
You like heat up the gold and it makes like, or these gold salts and it makes a
I
red
assume
color.
you squeeze the blood out of it.
Oh, there you go.
Sure,
Stone.
makes sense.
Squeeze.
Squish. Nice.
By the way, Eric, I'm mildly furious that you couldn't follow the rules on Vanessa's pick.
Mine had more hypnosis in it than any other film made.
That's, I'm gonna allow it. I'm gonna allow it. I'm not mad. This is crazy.
Well, of course you're going to allow it. You fucking In the Tall Grass was your road movie.
It's so much road. Let me tell you.
Hey, Carlos, I remember you've heard like you cut some things together. You should go back.
Being passive
You
aggressive.
should go
Eric.
back and find the points where Kelly said, well, I'm not following the rules for this title.
I tried so hard to make the movie The Sender work for this. Have you guys seen this from
No.
1982-ish British? So creepy. I got to figure out a way to make that my my subgenre
Oh, cool.
choice. It is so
Yeah.
cool. I watched it while I was sick. Instead, I cheated a little bit on this, Vanessa,
Oh, shocking.
and I chose the movie The Fourth Kind.
Can you state your name for the camera?
Dr. Abigail Tyler.
Okay, where would you like to begin?
I am actress Mila Jovovich, and I will be portraying Dr. Abigail Tyler. This film is a dramatization of events that occurred October 2000. Every scene in this movie is supported by archived footage. Some of what you're about to see is extremely disturbing.
I wake up in the middle of the night almost every night.
And there's nothing unusual waking you up.
There's one thing. There's an owl at my window.
An owl.
His eyes are big.
A white owl just looking at me.
Had you ever seen it before?
Tommy?
When I was a kid,
Just staring at me.
I've seen it a lot.
every night this week.
4, 3, 2. Tell me about the
Tell
owl.
me about the owl.
Doesn't look like a normal owl.
There's no owl. It's not an owl.
That voice is speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history. You can go into any Sumerian exhibit and see etchings and sculptures of men in spacesuits and oxygen masks, rockets that look like Apollo.
Do you believe in abduction theories?
You don't mean alien abductions, do you?
There was more fear in his eyes than I've ever seen in my life.
What's wrong?
There are more missing people in Nome than any other town in Alaska.
I have to get this out of my head because it's dug in there and I can't think straight.
Scott.
Scott?
We gotta send backup now.
What'd you see?
You were there.
I can't explain it.
Someone or something came into my room. And it took me away.
Oh, Jesus
Lord.
Christ.
2009. Budget of $10 million.
Oh,
Box
my.
office of, you tell me. You tell me.
10,000?
I don't know. It might have made some money.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a hit.
$47 million.
Jesus Christ.
What was your Rotten Tomatoes critics? 17%?
Yeah.
Well, this has a beat.
Oh.
Rotten Tomatoes of 18%,
Okay.
but your audience only had it at
Like 40 something.
42, I think it was. Oh, well, that beat mine, which is at 41.
Very similar.
Wow. Yes, it was the same critics, obviously,
Yeah,
reviewing
the
these
same
movies.
12 guys.
Directed by Olatunde Onsunsanmi.
Of course it was.
Who has directed Falling Skies, 10 episodes of Star Trek Discovery, and tons of genre television. He did a bunch of stuff that we like, so. And he did a bunch of stuff that we like after this. So it was clearly the success of this film that kept him working. It was written by Olatunde and a man named Terry Lee Robbins, who wrote The Cavern.
The way you started saying that, I was expecting another incredibly complicated name.
Well, listen, I'm wearing my cheaters, and for whatever reason, I didn't capitalize Lee, and so I was like, Terry Ice Robbins? That can't be right.
I bet he thinks it should be ice. That'd be cool.
This is all he wrote was The Fourth Kind in The Cavern. And Olatunde also directed The Cavern. So this was some buddy of his or something.
Yeah.
Starring Mila Jovovich. Let me see if I can hold this far enough away to read. 59 credits, including The Fifth Element, Monster Hunter, and of course, she's Alice in the Resident Evil movies. Elias Koteas. Now, you guys know this guy a lot, and we have pronounced his name various ways. I am telling you with authority, it is Elias Koteas. 90 credits. He was, of course, Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja. Teenage Mutant Ninja.
I think I called him
Turtles movies.
Elias or something.
Yes, it's Elias. The Prophecy, Skinwalkers, Haunting in Connecticut. He has done just a ton of stuff, and fully half of it is genre stuff. So I don't know if he's just a fan or he likes a paycheck.
Well,
Thank you. And also stars Will Patton. 114 credits, including The Puppet Masters, which I just watched while I was sick. Do not watch. Armageddon, The Mothman Prophecies, Halloween, and Halloween Kills. Still working. This guy is big time.
Wow.
Okay, so you've both seen this movie. Based on your reaction to the title when I announced it, I assume you don't care for this movie.
It is in the bottom 5 films I've ever seen.
Wow. Yeah. I don't remember much
I would say you need to see more films, but okay, so right off the bat, Mila walks up to the the screen and speaks directly to the camera and says, "This is a true story," and she is playing Dr. Abigail Tyler. And then it goes into a old video from the 90s purporting to be an interview with the real Abigail Tyler, and she starts recounting her story. So the movie is then told with dramatized incidents. Hold on a second.
More wine will help. That is the solution to your pronunciation issue.
I'm feeling good about this. Dramatized.
I bet you are.
Incidents starring the actors, but then intercut with actual video footage from the 90s, and it's pretty convincing.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, we get Abigail being hypnotized. Do you see what I did there?
There you go.
There's a hypnotist.
To try to remember the face of her husband's murderer. Okay, you guys, gang. He was stabbed through the heart right next to her in their bed in the middle of the night, and the trauma was so much that she blocked everything else about that night.
Huh.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. This is super important. Okay. Meanwhile, Abigail herself is doing a study on sleep-deprived individuals in her hometown of Nome, Alaska. I don't know if you guys know anything about Nome, Alaska. It is very tiny. It is out in the boondocks. It's literally on the edge of the permafrost at the top of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Vanessa's been there.
Sure. I mean, she's got friends there, and she was there last weekend.
I actually did get close, but that's fine.
So she's talking to her patients, and she starts noticing this one thing they all seem to have in common. They all talk about waking in the middle of the night to see a white snow owl outside their windows watching them for hours at a time. And I will tell you, this imagery is pretty fucking great. It's very unsettling, and it looks just like the head of one of the alien greys that we are also familiar with. So you know exactly where this is going.
Yeah.
She suggests to one of her patients that she hypnotize him. Do you see what I did there, Eric?
Yeah.
Followed the rules.
I don't know.
But still only like 2 people hypnotized. I had like 80.
I don't know.
I'm 10 minutes into the movie.
Kelly, I don't know how you cheated. It's followed the rules 100%
I felt like
so
mind control / hypnosis means they had to be hypnotized to do something the hypnotist wanted them to do. And this is not that.
I don't know. I just wanted it in there.
I just like telling people I cheated because it makes me feel like a bad boy.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm so upset. How dare you?
I'm in my
really
mid-50s.
insulted.
I don't do much to.
I wish you would follow the rules. How could you betray my trust like this?
All right. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Good.
So she suggests to one of her patients that she hypnotize him to remember something. And when she does, he starts going into hysterics about whatever he saw that night. And this is all intercut masterfully with actual video footage of her doing this. And it's like split screen. So you see the actor doing this and then the actual video footage. But then to really make it cool, they change the split of the screen. So it's like sliding across the screen. You're seeing a little bit more of this and a little bit more of this. And I'm like, wow, check out this editing.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a Blumhouse film, but it is clearly influenced by Paranormal Activity. Is that the shitty series they had?
It isn't before Paranormal Activity?
No.
Wow.
This is Universal trying to get in on that shit.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So anyway, he goes into hysterics and she finally gets him out of the hypnosis. And although he's shaken, he seems to get himself under control. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. And she's like, okay, wow, that was weird. So that night he goes home and he kills his wife and kids and himself.
Sure.
And he's screaming in some kind of weird unknown language. And this is all edited together with the real footage of the incident because they've got like a police cam outside the house and you see him like threatening and then you see him shoot and they've blurred out the faces of the wife and everything. So it's like, it looks, it's a pretty good effect, I got to say. Mm-hmm. So the next day, she's back at it, hypnotizing the shit out of another patient. And this guy starts going into convulsions and shit. And it's a little close to the way the first guy acted. So he's sent home with police escort this time to kind of monitor the situation. And I love that the cops are like, yeah, we should probably keep an eye on this guy. But nobody's like, maybe we should just stop hypnotizing them. Has anybody...
maybe that's not... Yeah.
Has anybody thought that this is a problem here? So anyway, so now she's on the case. She's trying to figure out what's going on and everything. And in her own late husband's research, remember, he was stabbed in the bed next to her.
Yes.
She finds the name of a doctor he had contacted, and she calls him and they meet, and she finds out that her husband was having these similar kinds of dreams with the snow owls and such and all that shit. And when the doctor starts listening to the tapes that she has of her patients, he concludes that the language they are speaking is Sumerian.
My
which is
God.
a dead language,
Ooh.
which raises the question, how would you know what Sumerian sounds like? It is a dead language. No one knows what it sounds like. So that should make you start scratching your head as you're watching this.
Sure.
But anyway, from here, we start going from incident to incident. There is a pretty great live footage scene of one of her patients. She goes to visit him at the house and he's having a hard time and everything. And she hypnotizes him and he starts opening his mouth impossibly wide. And the footage, they're doing the live footage and he starts levitating off the bed. But then the footage starts, getting all grainy and shit like, something supernatural is happening so you can't see it. And it is all done to very good effect. So she decides, guess what? That's enough. She attempts to go home and fuck right off. But the cops show up and they say the dude she had just seen had contorted himself so badly that he broke his own spine.
Ooh.
And the cops want to arrest her for being responsible for the horrible things that have happened to this town. Finally, because of her bullshit hypnotherapy.
It does seem pretty unethical.
There follows a rather unsatisfying piece of actual live video footage from a police dash camera that suggests a massive spacecraft above her house for a minute. And then her daughter disappears, seemingly abducted by aliens. Mm-hmm. But the cops are going to pin it all on her. After this, it gets incredibly stupid. because the cops then talk to her about the murder of her husband. But then he holds up a picture of her dead husband with a bullet hole in his head and explains to her that he suicided himself. And he and her doctor have clearly known this the entire time. So they've been aware that this woman who dealt with the trauma of her husband's suicide by believing he was murdered has been practicing therapy and hypnotherapy in their town. And you all are like, now I'm starting to think the cops are kind of responsible for a lot of this bullshit.
Alaska, yo.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So this whole story is fucking bullshit. The basis of this was the amount of missing persons reported in this tiny town of Nome. But when the feds got there, they concluded that most of those cases were caused by the rampant alcoholism in the town and people just wandering off into the tundra. So even if you, like me, would say that sounds exactly like a government cover-up bullshit story, the live footage starts falling apart if you know anything about Nome. That far up, when you get to the permafrost, the world is basically flat and clear. You can see forever. The trees can only grow to about 8 feet tall because there is nothing to feed them. So the town probably looks very similar to the town from 30 Days of Night, right? Mm-hmm. But in the live footage we see, we're shown mountains, forests, and all of that shit, and it just does not exist up there. You know where it does exist? Vancouver, BC. Yo.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Woot woot.
Yeah, so trivia. The fourth kind is a reference to scientist J. Allen Hynek's famous categories involving the sightings of UFOs. Close encounters of the third kind also refer to this scale. Do you guys know what the first, second, third, fourth kind is?
Absolutely not.
So first kind is seeing it.
Yeah.
Second kind is something leaving evidence of a visitation. The third kind, contact. The fourth kind, abduction.
Whoa.
Yeah, creepy. If I haven't made this clear, this movie is a giant fucking hoax. So the movie's hoaxed interviews have angered the families of real missing persons in and around Nome, Alaska, for trivializing their loss. Melanie Edwards, vice president of Cowarock Inc., an organization representing tribal peoples in Alaska. By the way, the town of Nome is over 50% indigenous people, and not one of them shown in this movie.
God.
Anyway, she described the movie as insensitive to family members of people who have gone missing in Nome over the years. Universal has refused to discuss the movie with that organization or with local journalists. According to the Anchorage Daily News, Nomites didn't much like the film exploiting unexplained disappearances of Northwest Alaskans, most of whom likely perished due to exposure to the harsh climate. Science fiction nonsense. The Alaska press liked even less the idea of news stories about unexplained disappearances in Nome area being used to hype some kind of fake documentary. By the way, Universal set up a bullshit site where they had articles from, but they list actual Nome newspapers.
Oh my God.
And so the Nome newspaper got on their case quick, and they were like, hey, take this shit down. What are you doing?
Jesus.
The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2008 Blacklist. You guys familiar with the Blacklist?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, it is a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. So this was apparently a very liked script. It turned into a pretty shite movie. And then finally, the real Dr. Abigail Tyler was played by the actress Charlotte Milchard. In the end credits, she appears credited as Dr. Abigail Tyler, and in the final cast list with her real name, but as one of the Nome residents. I looked her up. She's done a couple other movies even lately, and she is weird looking in this movie. But she is quite attractive in real life. It's weird how that works. A little bit of makeup, brush your hair.
Take those glasses off.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
That ponytail. Don't forget the stairs.
I had no idea.
Got to walk downstairs.
I wanted to do this movie because I keep seeing this pop up on people's lists of, oh my God, have you seen this movie? It is terrifying. And they act like it is real.
Yeah.
This is a big fucking hoax. It's a hoax in the manner of Blair Witch Project, but not done as well and then not revealed.
Well, this is okay. So now you've hit the reason why I hate this movie, because not only is it a hoax, but it ends with, it's so, I'm sorry, it is unethical. It ends with a missing child and saying this child has gone missing. If you see her, here's, I think, a phone number. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Not
They do
only
talk
is it a
about-
hoax, but they push it to the point where it's like, not only is this a shit movie, but you guys are freaking people out and making them concerned and thinking, oh my God, there's a little missing girl in Alaska. Like, are you kidding?
Jesus.
It's not worth it.
Well, now, part of the problem is if that had been done by Eric and I on a budget of $10,000,
It'd be obvious.
Well, yeah, but also
Thanks.
if we had been able to, if we had been able to
$10,000.
make people think that, then we'd be fucking heroes, because it was just like, oh well, we wanted to, perpetrate this hoax.
Yeah.
It was done by Universal Studios.
It was done by Universal Studios, and I think that there was a moment, there was a flash in the pan around Blair Witch Project where people were like, yeah, we can do this crazy thing where we trick a bunch of people through the medium of cinema. And you know what? That's fine, but it's still a cheap fucking shot. And it's still really kind of cringy in retrospect. And people shouldn't keep doing it years later with much bigger budgets.
It's never really worked on that level again either.
No,
it's just,
it hasn't.
What Blair Witch pulled off was because nobody had ever done that before. And the internet was still so new. And
it's just like a moment in time.
We're way too nasty and cynical anymore.
We're all, I would say, savvy, but cynical is also another way to say that. A lot of the articles and the research I did were from 2009. So there were people immediately trying to shut this down.
Yeah.
So, and it didn't, it did well financially, but obviously the critics and the audience hated it. So one of the things I thought was so interesting is that Mila Jovovich is a good actor. She's good.
Yeah.
She is not nearly as good as the gal who's portraying her in the live video. And that is part of the part that makes you go, is this real?
Right.
I was dating an awful human being when I saw this movie, and I saw her with her, and she was absolutely the person that Universal was aiming this for, because she bought every fucking thing about it. And I was just like, I don't think those mountains could possibly exist up there. And she was like, why do you want to ruin everything? Like, well, look, I don't want to ruin everything, just his relationship.
Ellie. Oh my God. You're going to ask for this to get taken out later.
Yeah, please edit that out. Carlos, please edit that out.
Just call Carlos right now.
That's my movie. I was glad to watch it again, because the really frustrating part of this is that there are some great scenes in this. The guy who's levitating off the bed, that raised the hair on my arm.
Yeah.
It was creepy looking. And the snow owl imagery was so creepy. I assume that that's an actual thing that has happened in abduction stuff, because
I think it is.
As soon as you see it, you're like, holy shit, is that what a snow owl looks like? It looks just like an alien head.
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking.
So
yeah, it is a spooky movie. There are moments in there that do really resonate. Moments.
But overall, it's just overall, you were like, if this were real, every official in this town should be tried and be responsible for all the bullshit in this. So.
Good Alaska, yeah.
It's like, once you find out that that she's traumatized and she somehow took her husband's suicide, which I think they say she saw him actually put the gun to his head and kill himself, and she turned that into a knife attack in their bed.
That's so.
I was like, I don't get the correlation there. So
the mind can be really weird, but that seems like a strange direction to end up in.
It just seems like, Olatunde. Look, I'm just showing off, Eric. It seems like Olatunde could have written something a little tighter there. But I'm like, how did this fucking get made? $10 million.
Sounds like if it was on the blacklist, sounds like maybe it got re-edited, maybe rewritten a little bit or something.
Yeah, people got really excited about the concept and then just kind of was like, well, if enough people believe in it.
It makes me wonder what the blacklist script looked like, and if somebody, Universal basically said, what if we add a found footage aspect to it?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Or if it was a fully found footage thing and somebody was like, what if we do recreations?
Right, because every time you see an actor come on stage, their name comes up next to them, and then you see like a photo of the real person and everything. It's like, it is a pretty slick production, I gotta say.
Yeah. So it's definitely not that a normal human being like your ex would definitely be like, oh shit, it's real. No, that definitely wouldn't happen.
She was also quite stupid.
I'm just saying a lot of people go to the cinema and aren't us and aren't super savvy. And they aren't reading all the critics and they aren't aware of all the bullshit. And they might be like, oh shit. Anyway.
I also spent hi mom. I also spent a summer in Dillingham, Alaska when I was 13. Yeah. Thanks so much for that. And that was flat as shit. And it was also about 100 miles south of Nome.
Yeah.
So, it was like impossible to watch it as someone who had actually been up that far.
Yeah,
and realized,
for sure.
Oh, this is just a bunch of mud up here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, I'm getting angry. I think it's my turn for the next pick.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, pick something better than I did.
Well, that's up to you guys. Okay. You both picked movies that you hated, while I picked a movie that I hated.
I did not hate it. It was fascinating. I
hated it. Sorry, I was projecting.
Probably, yes.
So I thought that it would be fun. There are a lot of movies where you watch something like, say, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, I think it is, and it's got Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if we do an episode on Before They Were Stars? So you guys pick a movie that's got somebody who turned into a big star. Jennifer Aniston was in Troll, I think it was.
Yeah, Troll. Yeah.
Yeah. Leprechaun.
Oh,
yeah,
Leprechaun. Yeah. So something, along those lines. How's that sound?
That sounds great. I'm just sad I already did Cutting Class.
Oh, yeah. Who was in that again?
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
That was his first film?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was one of them. It was a really early one.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be their first film.
Right.
It just has to be, a film where you're like, what?
Before they were famous.
How did this person get in this movie?
That sounds awesome. I love it.
Yep. I love it too. That's why I chose it.
Well, I love it more because I'm excited to watch something that doesn't suck, hopefully.
I'm excited to hear you talk about something that doesn't suck.
Fair.
All right. This brings me to the part where I thank everybody for participating in the value number 4 value, as I learned. Value for value model. Thank you for your likes and posts, for you throwing your hard-earned cash at us, for sharing the post when the episodes drop and all of that stuff, for buying underwear and t-shirts and stickers from our Etsy store.
Get that fun on.
Very good.
Carlos has become our biggest champion. So.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge thrown out to some other folks?
I'm just saying he's had all of us on his own podcast, and then he's sporting our logo on everything, and he's just a real sweetheart of a guy.
Really appreciate it.
Danny, you need to start your own podcast and start talking about us. How come somebody hasn't done an after podcast where they talk about how the episode went? Like that Talking Dead. Why can't we have a Stranger Eons?
Oh my. Opening a rough door there.
I expect Danny, Ron, and Bob to get on that.
I don't want people talking about me like that, man. I don't want to know what they really think of me. I just pretend I'm here hanging out with my friends. I don't even want to think about the fact that people actually listen to my voice. Even though you're all great, and thank you for doing it.
Wow, nice save. I'll say this. It has been so long since we've done this in person.
Yeah.
And this has been really nice, but I need you to get the fuck out of my house.
I have to pee, so first I have to pee in your bathroom, and then I'll get out.
Do it in the yard.
No! Okay, fine.
This is where we say goodbye. Goodbye!
Bye!
Goodbye.
See you!
Bye.
Strange Eons Radio is artisanal quality podcasting, handcrafted with all natural ingredients, and edited to perfection by Eric Morgret. Our blistering theme song is Strange Eons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider dropping a positive review on Apple Podcasts.
This is why you're a writer, sir.